Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at something that is just truly fascinating. We're talking about the mechanics of immortality. How exactly does a mortal leader, someone bound by the exact same physical limits of a single human lifespan as you and me, transform into an enduring legend that literally shapes a culture for centuries? Well, we are going to explore the historical aftermath and the profound, lasting legacy of King Prithviraj Chauhan. You see, this isn't just a basic recap of dates and battles. We're going to take a structural look at how memory is forged, preserved, and actively lived by future generations.
Okay, let's dive into this. Consider this simple yet incredibly heavy statement. The battlefield has fallen silent. Think about a peaceful sunrise slowly breaking over the majestic forts of Ajmer and Delhi. The chaotic noise, the clash of steel, the roar of the massive armies, it's all completely gone. We're just left looking across this vast landscape littered with abandoned banners. The contrast here is really profound. You have the absolute serene peace of nature at dawn directly juxtaposed against the leftover debris of intense human conflict. It sets this deeply reflective emotional tone for understanding what actually happens the very moment a leader falls.
Section 1. The silent battlefield and the immediate aftermath.
Which brings us to Section 2, Honoring the King, a Solemn Tribute.
To process this immediate, gut-wrenching grief, the kingdom really had to come together. Rajput warriors, everyday citizens, the royal families, they all converged inside the protective walls of temples and forts. Because, this wasn't just a political loss. It was deeply personal for the entire kingdom. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how that grief took physical form through specific, solemn rituals. Think about the lighting of glowing oil lamps to literally push back the darkness of their loss. The offering of fresh flowers to symbolize life and fleeting beauty. People bowing respectfully, fully acknowledging the immense weight of his sacrifice. These weren't empty gestures, right? They were the absolutely crucial first steps in cementing his legacy. The atmosphere was somber for sure, but also deeply inspiring. A whole community unified in their respect.
Section 3. Preserved through the ages. Let's look at the mechanics of this legacy.
Over time, that initial raw grief hardened into a powerful symbol, and King Prithviraj Chauhan's image evolved to stand for unwavering bravery. But how did that actually happen? Now, what's really interesting about this is how it breaks down the dual engines of historical preservation. By deliberately choosing to remember his past victories, his rigorous military training, and his commanding presence in the royal court, the people constructed a narrative that was literally built to last. On the one hand, you have the elite, formal record, scholars and royal courts meticulously documenting these events on palm leaf manuscripts. That's the official historical chronicle. But on the other hand, you've got these incredible grassroots literary traditions, poets and storytellers gathering in village assemblies, using traditional instruments to recite legendary tales to captivated audiences. His story survived and thrived because it was captured by both the pen of the scholar and the song of the poet.
Moving on to Section 4. A living Rajput heritage and finding inspiration in the present.
Because here's the thing, this legacy isn't just trapped in some dusty museum. It is actively alive across modern Rajasthan today. If we walk through this timeline, you can see the direct line of inheritance. In the past, you have the physical anchors, those majestic Rajput forts, temples, and palaces still standing proudly. Through the centuries between then and now, you see saffron flags flying as a continuous, unbroken visual symbol of the culture. And that brings us right to today, where young warriors are actively practicing archery and swordsmanship. Those physical monuments from the past have directly translated into active, living inspiration for young people today. They aren't just learning history from a book, they're actually embodying it.
So, the crucial point is these three specific ideals that the young warriors are keeping alive right now, directly associated with Prithviraj Chauhan. First, courage, the willingness to face overwhelming adversity. Second, honor, the strict upholding of royal court values and ethical conduct. And third, sacrifice, the ultimate readiness to give absolutely everything for the kingdom and the community. The swordsmanship and the archery, they're really just the physical manifestations of these core, timeless ideals.
Section 5. His place in history, an enduring study.
Now, the physical geography of this legacy is absolutely vital to its preservation. We're talking about specific, famous historical sites connected to his life. Most notably, the city of Ajmer and the towering Taragarh fort. These aren't just old ruins. They are massive, physical, primary sources that anchor the entire legend in tangible reality. And that brings us to this defining historical perspective. Historians continue to study his life. His legacy remains significant in Indian history. To put that into perspective, this proves his impact goes way beyond just regional folklore or poetic exaggeration. His life,
His governance, his military strategies, they all provide enduring, concrete value for historical scholars today. That level of academic scrutiny only validates the profound weight of his historical footprint.
As we pull all of this together, picture this. Imagine a cinematic sunset right behind Taragard Fort, a lone Rajput warrior raising a saffron flag against a golden sky. It creates this incredibly timeless feeling of remembrance, backed by the idea of powerful orchestral music fading into the horizon. It's a perfect summary of a legacy that absolutely refuses to fade with the passing of the sun.
Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. What turns a fleeting moment in history into an eternal legacy? Is it the scholar's pen, the poet's song, or is it the continuous heartbeat of a culture that simply refuses to forget? As you think about the ancient forts and the young archers of today, consider how history isn't just something that happens to us, it's something we actively choose to carry forward. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring the history that shapes our world.